The invasion begins, Earth under siege. The sky burned. Massive alien ships, dark and ominous, blotted out the sun as they descended upon Earth's major cities. Their arrival was as sudden as it was devastating, catching humanity completely off guard. Within hours, the world's most advanced military forces lay in ruins, their weapons rendered useless against the invaders' superior technology. In the chaos of New York City, Alex Chen sprinted through the debris-strewn streets, her military-grade sniper rifle clutched tightly against her chest. The acrid smell of smoke and burning flesh filled her nostrils as she navigated the urban war zone. Screams and explosions echoed off the crumbling skyscrapers, a cacophony of terror and destruction. Alex had been on leave, visiting family, when the invasion began. Now, cut off from her unit, and with no way to contact command, she was determined to make it to the nearest military outpost. As she ran, her mind raced with questions. Who were these aliens? What did they want? And how could humanity possibly hope to fight back? A piercing shriek from above made Alex dive for cover. She rolled beneath an overturned car just as a sleek insectoid alien craft zoomed past, its energy weapons reducing a nearby building to rubble. Heart pounding, Alex peered out from her hiding spot, watching as the alien ship circled back around. That's when she saw them, a group of civilians, trapped in the open, desperately trying to avoid the alien craft's attention. Without hesitation, Alex shouldered her rifle and took aim. She knew her weapon might be ineffective against the alien ship itself, but perhaps she could create a distraction. Taking a deep breath, Alex squeezed the trigger. The rifle kicked against her shoulder as the high-caliber rounds streaked through the air, striking the alien craft's cockpit with pinpoint accuracy. While it didn't penetrate the ship's armor, the impact was enough to momentarily throw off its trajectory. Seizing the opportunity, Alex shouted to the civilians, "Run! Take cover in the subway station." She provided covering fire as the group scrambled to safety, her precise shots keeping the alien craft at bay just long enough for them to disappear underground. As the adrenaline faded, Alex allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction. She may not be able to take down these invaders single-handedly, but she could still make a difference. With renewed determination, she set off towards the military outpost once more. Hours later, Alex finally reached her destination, or what was left of it. The outpost was a smoking ruin, evidence of a fierce battle scattered all around. Bodies of both humans and aliens littered the ground, a grim testament to the brutality of the invasion. "Hey, don't move," a gruff voice called out. Alex froze, slowly raising her hands to show she wasn't a threat. From behind a collapsed wall, a haggard-looking soldier emerged, his rifle trained on her. "Sergeant Alex Chen, 5th Special Forces Group," she said calmly. "I was on leave when the attack began. What's our status?" The soldier, whose name tag read Peterson, lowered his weapon with a bitter laugh. "Status? We're screwed, that's our status. These bastards have tech we can't even begin to understand. Our weapons barely scratch them, and they're tearing through our defenses like tissue paper." Alex's heart sank, but she refused to give in to despair. "There has to be something we can do. Have we managed to take any of them down?" Peterson nodded grimly. "A few. Their foot soldiers aren't invincible, just damned hard to kill. But their ships, those things are untouchable. We need to regroup, figure out a new strategy." Before Alex could respond, the ground shook violently. In the distance, an enormous alien mothership descended from the clouds, its size defying belief. Smaller craft swarmed around it like angry hornets, laying waste to everything in their path. "Dear God," Peterson whispered, his face pale with shock. Alex grabbed him by the shoulder, snapping him out of his daze. "We need to move. Now. Are there any extraction points still active?" Peterson shook his head. "Last I heard, we were ordered to fall back to the Rocky Mountains. There's a hidden base there, supposedly safe from their scans. But that was hours ago, and comms have been spotty at best." Alex made a quick decision. Then that's where we're headed. Gather any survivors and supplies you can. We leave in 10 minutes. As Peterson hurried off to comply, Alex took a moment to survey the devastation around her. The city she had grown up in, the country she had sworn to protect, all of it was crumbling before her eyes. But as long as she drew breath, she would fight. Humanity might be on the ropes, but they weren't out of the fight yet. Over the next few days, Alex and the small group of survivors she had gathered made their way west. They traveled under cover of darkness, avoiding main roads and populated areas. The aliens seemed to be everywhere, their patrols growing more frequent as they tightened their grip on the conquered territories. During one of their rare rest stops, Alex found herself staring at the stars, wondering if there were other worlds out there facing the same fate as Earth. A young soldier named Emily, barely out of her teens, sat down beside her. "Do you think we have a chance, Sarge?" Emily asked, her voice small and uncertain. Alex turned to her, seeing the fear and hope warring in the young woman's eyes. She chose her words carefully. "I think that as long as we're still breathing, we have a chance. Humanity has faced impossible odds before and come out on top. We're resourceful, adaptable. We'll find a way." Emily nodded, seeming to draw strength from Alex's words. "I've heard stories, about you. They say you're one of the best snipers in the service. That you can hit a target from so far away, the enemy never even knows what hit them." Alex allowed herself a small smile. "I'm good at what I do, but right now, we're all in this together. Every one of us has a part to play if we're going to survive this." Their conversation was cut short by a commotion at the edge of their makeshift camp. Alex was on her feet in an instant, rifle at the ready. To her surprise, she saw Peterson talking animatedly with a group of newcomers, civilians by the look of them. As Alex approached, she overheard snippets of their conversation, found a way to jam their comms. "Resistance forming in the mountains. Need every fighter we can get." Peterson turned to Alex, excitement evident in his tired eyes. "Sarge, you're going to want to hear this. These folks say they've got a way to fight back against the aliens." Over the next hour, Alex listened intently as the newcomers shared their story. They were part of a growing resistance movement, one that had managed to reverse engineer some of the alien technology. While they couldn't match the invaders' firepower, they had discovered a way to disrupt their communications and tracking systems. "It's not much," said Sarah, the leader of the group, "but it's a start. We've been gathering people, resources. There's a hidden base in the Rockies where scientists and engineers are working around the clock to find weaknesses we can exploit." Alex felt a glimmer of hope for the first time since the invasion began. "How can we help?" Sarah smiled grimly. "We need fighters, people who can strike fast and disappear before the aliens can retaliate. Your skills as a sniper could be invaluable." As the group discussed plans and shared information, a distant explosion lit up the night sky. Everyone fell silent, watching as an alien ship engaged in a dogfight with what appeared to be a human fighter jet. The jet was clearly outmatched, weaving desperately to avoid the aliens' energy weapons. Without a word, Alex unslung her rifle and took aim. She knew the chances of affecting the outcome were slim, but she had to try. Calculating for distance, wind, and the speed of the combatants, she squeezed the trigger. The shot rang out, a lone defiance against the overwhelming alien force. To everyone's astonishment, the round found its mark, striking a vulnerable point on the alien craft. It wasn't enough to destroy the ship, but the impact caused it to veer off course, giving the human pilot a chance to escape. As the jet disappeared into the clouds, a cheer went up from the group. It was a small victory, but a victory nonetheless. Alex lowered her rifle, a fierce determination settling over her. This was what she was meant to do, to be the thorn in the alien's side, the ghost they couldn't catch, the human who refused to bow down. "All right," she said, turning to the others. "Let's get to that base. It's time we showed these invaders that humanity isn't going down without a fight." As they packed up camp and prepared to move out, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of purpose she'd have thought lost in the chaos of the invasion. The road ahead would be difficult, perhaps even impossible, but she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The aliens may have mocked humanity's initial retreat, but they would soon learn the cost of underestimating human resilience. And when they did, Alex Chen would be there, her rifle trained on their weakest points, ready to strike a blow for Earth and all of humanity. Little did the aliens know, their mockery of humanity's retreat was about to backfire spectacularly. The legend of the deadly sniper and the resistance she would help build was just beginning. The invaders had awoken a sleeping giant, and Alex Chen was its keen-eyed harbinger of doom. The birth of the resistance, hope in the shadows. The journey to the Rockies was treacherous. Alex and her growing band of survivors moved under cover of darkness, dodging alien patrols and scavenging for supplies. Each day brought new challenges, but also new allies. Civilians, ex-military, and even a few scientists joined their ranks, drawn by whispers of a resistance forming in the mountains. 2 weeks after leaving the ruins of New York, they finally reached their destination. Hidden within a sprawling cave system, the resistance base bustled with activity. As Alex's group was led inside, she marveled at the ingenuity on display. Scavenged alien tech had been cobbled together with human equipment, creating a hodgepodge command center that somehow managed to function. Dr. Eliza Wang, the base's lead scientist, greeted them with cautious optimism. "Welcome to Haven," she said, gesturing to the controlled chaos around them. "It's not much, but it's our best shot at turning the tide." Alex wasted no time. "What do you need from us?" Dr. Wang's eyes lit up. "Everything. Fighters, strategists, anyone with specialized skills. But most importantly, we need hope. People who still believe we can win this war." Over the next few days, Alex immersed herself in the Resistance's operations. She trained snipers, helped plan guerrilla tactics, and pored over the limited intel they had on the alien forces. But it was during a late-night strategy session that the breakthrough came. "Look at this," said Raj, a former software engineer, pointing to a series of energy readings on his jury-rigged monitor. "There's a pattern to their shield fluctuations. It's subtle, but it's there." Alex leaned in, studying the data. "Can we exploit it?" Raj nodded excitedly. "I think so. If we can time our attacks just right, we might be able to penetrate their defenses." The discovery energized the entire base. For the first time since the invasion, they had a tangible advantage. Dr. Wang and her team worked tirelessly to develop weapons that could capitalize on this weakness, while Alex and the other military personnel began planning their first major offensive. Their target, an alien communication relay station located in what used to be Denver. Taking it out would disrupt the invaders' operations across the entire region, giving the resistance room to grow and recruit. As the day of the mission approached, tension in the base mounted. Alex found herself in the makeshift firing range, fine-tuning her rifle and running drills with a hand-picked team of snipers. Emily, the young soldier who had become something of a protégé to Alex, approached with determination in her eyes. "Sarge, I want to be on the assault team." Alex paused, studying the younger woman. She saw the same fire, the same need to fight back that burned within herself. After a moment, she nodded. "All right, but you stick to me like glue, understood?" Emily's face broke into a grin. "Yes, ma'am." The night before the mission, Alex couldn't sleep. She wandered the quiet corridors of the base, eventually finding herself in the comm center. To her surprise, Dr. Wang was there, poring over data. "Trouble sleeping?" Alex asked, settling into a chair nearby. Dr. Wang smiled tiredly. "Too much to do. This mission, it's everything we've been working for." Alex nodded, understanding the weight of their situation. "Do you think it'll make a difference?" "It has to," Dr. Wang replied, her voice filled with quiet determination. "But even if it doesn't, we have to try. That's what sets us apart from them, you know. Our willingness to fight against impossible odds." As dawn broke, the resistance fighters moved out. Using retrofitted vehicles designed to mask their heat signatures, they approached Denver under the cover of a heavy fog. Alex and her sniper team took up positions on the outskirts of the city, providing overwatch for the main assault group. Through her scope, Alex watched as the alien relay station came into view. It was an imposing structure, all sleek lines and pulsing energy fields. Alien guards patrolled the perimeter, their movements precise and inhuman. "All teams check in," Alex whispered into her comm. One by one, the various groups reported their readiness. Alex took a deep breath, steadying her nerves. "Remember, we wait for the shield fluctuation. On my mark." The seconds ticked by, feeling like an eternity. Then, almost imperceptibly, the energy field around the station wavered. "Now," Alex ordered. In perfect synchronization, the resistance struck. EMP devices, developed by Dr. Wong's team, detonated around the perimeter, temporarily disabling the aliens' personal shields. Alex and her snipers opened fire, their specially modified rounds finding vulnerable points in the invaders' armor. Chaos erupted as the main assault team charged in. Alex watched through her scope as Emily and the others engaged in close-quarters combat with the alien defenders. The human fighters moved with a desperation and ferocity that seemed to catch the aliens off guard. But the advantage wouldn't last long. Already, Alex could see alien reinforcements approaching from the city center. "We've got incoming," she reported, picking off an alien pilot before it could reach its ship. "Assault team, you need to move faster." The battle intensified. For every alien the resistance took down, 2 more seemed to appear. Alex's finger never left the trigger, her shots finding their marks with unerring accuracy. But it wasn't enough. "We're pinned down," Emily's voice crackled over the comm. "There's too many of them." Alex made a split-second decision. "Sniper team, maintain overwatch. I'm going in." Ignoring the protests of her team, Alex slung her rifle over her shoulder and sprinted towards the fray. She moved like a ghost through the battlefield, using the chaos and debris as cover. As she neared the relay station, she unslung her rifle and took aim at the alien commander coordinating the defense. Time seemed to slow as Alex exhaled, her focus narrowing to a pinpoint. The alien's head exploded in a spray of iridescent fluid, its body crumpling to the ground. The effect on the other aliens was immediate. Their coordinated defense faltered, giving the human fighters the opening they needed. "Push forward," Alex shouted, providing covering fire as Emily and the assault team surged towards the station's entrance. What followed was a blur of close-quarters combat, desperation, and sheer human determination. Alex found herself fighting side by side with Emily, the 2 of them working in perfect tandem to clear room after room. Finally, they reached the central control room. Raider's voice came over the comm, guiding them through the process of planting the charges that would destroy the relay. "We're out of time," Emily yelled as the sounds of approaching alien reinforcements grew louder. Alex made the call. "Everyone out now. We're blowing it." The resistance fighters fell back, covering each other's retreat. As they reached minimum safe distance, Alex turned to take one last look at the alien structure. With a nod to Emily, she pressed the detonator. The explosion was magnificent. The relay station collapsed in on itself, its destruction sending a shockwave of interference that disrupted alien communications across the entire region. As the dust settled, a cheer went up from the human fighters. They had done it. Against all odds, they had struck a significant blow against the alien invaders. The journey back to Haven was tense but triumphant. As they entered the base, they were met with a hero's welcome. Dr. Wong rushed forward, her eyes shining with tears of joy and relief. "You did it," she said, embracing Alex. "You actually did it." Alex allowed herself a small smile. "We did it. All of us." In the days that followed, the impact of their success became clear. Alien operations in the region were in disarray, giving the resistance time to regroup and plan their next move. More importantly, News of the victory spread, inspiring pockets of resistance to spring up across the country. One evening, as Alex sat cleaning her rifle, Emily approached with a group of new recruits. "They wanted to meet you," Emily explained, "the ghost sniper who's giving the aliens hell." Alex looked up, taking in the mix of awe and determination on the faces before her. She stood, addressing them with quiet intensity. "What we did in Denver was just the beginning," she said. "The road ahead is long and dangerous, but now we know it can be done. We can hurt them. We can win." As the new recruits dispersed, filled with renewed purpose, Alex turned to Emily. "You did good out there," she said. "I'm proud of you." Emily beamed at the praise. "I learned from the best. So, what's our next move?" Alex's eyes gleamed with fierce determination. Now we take the fight to them. They thought they had us beaten, but they're about to learn what happens when you back humanity into a corner." As night fell over Haven, the resistance base hummed with activity. Plans were being made, weapons modified, strategies devised. The aliens had mocked their retreat, but now, in the shadows, hope was taking root. And at the heart of it all stood Alex Chen, the sniper whose legend was just beginning to grow. The invaders had made a crucial mistake in underestimating human resilience. They were about to learn, one precision shot at a time, that humanity's greatest strength lay not in its technology, but in its indomitable spirit. The resistance was born, and with it, the tide of war was about to turn. Turning the tide, the sniper's legend grows. In the months following the Denver operation, the resistance movement exploded across the country. Haven became the nerve center of a sprawling network of rebel cells, each striking at the alien occupiers in their own way. But at the heart of this burgeoning insurrection was a name whispered with equal parts awe and hope: Ghost. That was the moniker given to Alex Chen by both her fellow resistance fighters and, inadvertently, by the aliens themselves. Her uncanny ability to appear out of nowhere, take out high-value targets, and vanish without a trace had become the stuff of legend. Alex, for her part, was uncomfortable with the attention. "I'm just doing my job," she'd say whenever someone brought up her growing reputation. But even she couldn't deny the effect it was having on morale. One crisp autumn morning, Alex found herself in Dr. Wong's lab, examining a new piece of equipment. "We're calling it the Whisper," Dr. Wong explained, holding up what looked like a heavily modified scope. "It uses the aliens' own technology against them, allowing you to see through their cloaking fields." Alex whistled, impressed. "This could be a game changer. How'd you manage it?" Dr. Wong smiled tiredly. "Let's just say we've had some help from our new friends." The new friends she referred to were a small group of alien defectors who had sought asylum with the resistance. Their insights into alien technology and tactics had proven invaluable, though trust remained a delicate issue. As Alex left the lab, her mind already plotting how to use the Whisper in their next operation, she was intercepted by Raj. "Ghost, we've got a situation," he said, his voice urgent. "We've picked up a distress signal from a resistance cell in Chicago. They're under heavy attack and won't last long without support." Alex's mind raced. Chicago was far outside their usual operational range, and mounting a rescue would be risky. But if they could establish a foothold in such a major city, it could tip the scales in their favor. "Assemble a team," she decided. "We leave in an hour." The journey to Chicago was tense. Alex's strike team, consisting of herself, Emily, and a handful of their most experienced operators, traveled in a retrofitted alien scout ship they'd captured months earlier. The vessel's cloaking technology allowed them to slip past enemy patrols undetected. As they approached the outskirts of Chicago, the scale of the alien occupation became clear. The once proud skyline was now dominated by towering alien structures, their strange geometries a stark contrast to the human architecture that remained. "My God," Emily whispered, peering out the view screen. "How are we supposed to fight that?" Alex placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "One shot at a time. Remember Denver? They located the source of the distress signal, a fortified position in the ruins of Millennium Park. The small band of resistance fighters was surrounded, taking heavy fire from alien shock troops. "We need to draw their attention," Alex said, formulating a plan. "Emily, take the others and create a diversion on the south side. I'll find a perch and start taking out the heavy hitters." As the team moved into position, Alex scaled a half-collapsed skyscraper, the whisper scope attached to her rifle. Through it, she could see the alien forces clearly, including several cloaked units that would have been invisible otherwise. In position, she whispered into her comm, "Emily, you're clear to engage." The sound of explosions echoed across the cityscape as Emily's team sprang into action. The alien forces, caught off guard, began to redirect their attention. That's when Alex struck. Her first shot took out the alien commander, its head exploding in a spray of bioluminescent fluid. Before the body had even hit the ground, she had acquired her next target, a cloaked sniper unit preparing to fire on Emily's position. One by one, Alex eliminated the greatest threats to both the Chicago cell and her own team. Her shots came with such speed and precision that the aliens couldn't pinpoint her location. In the chaos that ensued, the Chicago resistance fighters rallied, pushing back against their attackers with renewed vigor. Emily's team, displaying the guerrilla tactics they'd perfected over months of fighting, struck hard and faded away before the aliens could regroup. As the battle reached its crescendo, Alex heard a familiar humming, the sound of an alien dropship approaching. Through the whisper scope, she could see it was carrying reinforcements. "We've got incoming," she warned the others. "Heavy armor, about to deploy." But before she could formulate a plan to deal with this new threat, something unexpected happened. The dropship suddenly lurched, smoke pouring from its engines. It spiraled out of control, crashing into a cluster of alien ground forces in a spectacular explosion. "What the hell was that?" Emily's voice crackled over the comm. Alex scanned the area, her heart racing. That's when she saw them, a squadron of jet fighters, bearing the insignia of the US Air Force, streaking across the sky. "Cavalry's here," Alex said, a grin spreading across her face. "Looks like we're not the only ones still in the fight." With the arrival of air support, the tide of the battle turned decisively in favor of the resistance. The remaining alien forces retreated, leaving behind a wealth of technology and equipment for the humans to salvage. As the dust settled, Alex made her way down to street level, where she was greeted by cheers from both her team and the Chicago resistance fighters they'd saved. A grizzled man who introduced himself as Captain Rodriguez, leader of the Chicago cell, approached her. "So you're the famous ghost," he said, eyeing her with a mixture of respect and curiosity. "Gotta say, the stories don't do you justice." Alex shrugged, uncomfortable with the praise. "We got lucky. If those fighters hadn't shown up when they did..." Rodriguez shook his head. "Luck had nothing to do with it. Your team's arrival is what gave us the chance to get a message out to our military contacts. You turned an extermination into a victory." As they talked, Emily approached with a captured alien data core. "Ghost, you're going to want to see this," she said, her voice tense with excitement. Back at the Chicago Resistance headquarters, a fortified bunker beneath the ruins of the Art Institute, Raj and Dr. Wong, who had arrived with a second wave of reinforcements, began analyzing the captured data. "This is incredible," Raj muttered, his fingers flying over the keyboard. "We're looking at their entire battle plans for the Midwest region." Dr. Wong nodded, her eyes scanning the alien text. "More than that. There are references here to something called Project Eclipse. Whatever it is, they're pouring massive resources into it." Alex frowned. "Could it be a weapon?" "Possibly," Dr. Wong replied. "But the energy readings associated with it, I've never seen anything like it. We need to find out more." As the resistance leaders pored over the new intelligence, Alex stepped outside for a moment of quiet. The Chicago skyline, a mix of human ruins and alien additions, stretched out before her. In the distance, she could see teams of resistance fighters and newly arrived military personnel working together to secure the area. Emily joined her, handing her a steaming cup of coffee, a rare luxury these days. "Penny for your thoughts, Ghost." Alex took a sip, savoring the bitter taste. "I'm thinking about how much has changed. A few months ago, we were scraping by, just trying to survive. Now look at us." Emily nodded. "It's because of you, you know. Your shots might have turned the tide of battles, but it's your spirit that's inspired people. You've given them hope." Alex was about to protest when her comm unit crackled to life. It was Raj, his voice urgent. "Ghost, you need to see this. Now." Back in the command center, Raj had pulled up a series of images on the main screen. They showed massive alien structures being built at various points around the globe. "We think these are tied to Project Eclipse," he explained. "Whatever they're planning, it's big, and it's happening soon." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "Then we need to hit them harder, faster. We've got momentum now, and we can't afford to lose it." Alex studied the images, her tactician's mind already formulating strategies. "We'll need to coordinate with other resistance cells, pool our resources, and we need to find out more about Project Eclipse." Dr. Wong nodded in agreement. "I'll reach out to our alien defectors, see if they have any insights." As the others discussed plans and strategies, Alex found her gaze drawn back to the image of the alien structures. Something about their design nagged at her, a sense of foreboding she couldn't shake. "Whatever they're planning," she said quietly, "we'll be ready." The meeting continued late into the night as the resistance leaders planned their next moves. But even as they plotted and strategized, none of them could have anticipated the true nature of Project Eclipse or the moral quandary it would present. As dawn broke over Chicago, Alex stood on the roof of the headquarters, watching the sun rise over the altered skyline. The coming days would test them all in ways they couldn't imagine. But for now, she allowed herself a moment of quiet pride. The resistance was no longer just a ragtag group of survivors. It had become a force to be reckoned with, a true threat to the alien occupation. And at its heart stood the legend of the Ghost, the sniper who had shown humanity that even in the darkest of times, hope could flourish. Little did Alex know, her greatest test was yet to come. As Project Eclipse loomed on the horizon, the line between savior and destroyer would blur, forcing her to question everything she thought she knew about this war and her role in it. The alien invaders had mocked humanity's retreat, but now they faced a resurgent, determined enemy. And leading the charge was a single sniper, whose legend was about to be put to the ultimate test. The alien counterattack, desperation and devastation. The Resistance's victory in Chicago had sent shockwaves through the alien occupation. For the first time since the invasion, the invaders found themselves on the defensive, struggling to maintain control over their conquered territories. But if Alex and her comrades thought this meant the war was turning decisively in their favor, they were about to receive a brutal wake-up call. It began with a series of coordinated strikes against resistance strongholds across the country. Haven itself came under attack, alien forces somehow bypassing their early warning systems and striking at the heart of the resistance. Alex was in the command center when the first alarms sounded. Explosions rocked the base, sending cascades of dust and debris raining down from the cave ceiling. "Status report," she shouted over the chaos, helping Dr. Wong to her feet. Rafe's fingers flew over his console. Multiple breaches, they're coming in from all sides. Alex's mind raced. How had they found them? How had they penetrated their defenses so easily? There was no time to dwell on these questions now. "Initiate evacuation protocol," she ordered. "Get all non-combat personnel to the emergency exits. Everyone else, prepare for battle." As the base erupted into frenzied activity, Alex grabbed her rifle and headed for the front lines. The scene that greeted her was one of nightmare. Waves of alien shock troops pouring through breached defenses, their weapons cutting down resistance fighters with ruthless efficiency. Emily appeared at her side, face streaked with blood and grime. Ghost, we can't hold them. There's too many. Alex gritted her teeth, taking aim and dropping 3 aliens in quick succession. We don't need to hold them. We just need to buy time for the evacuation. For the next hour, Alex led a desperate defense, coordinating what remained of their forces in a fighting retreat. Her rifle never stopped firing, each shot finding its mark with deadly precision. But for every alien she felled, 2 more seemed to take its place. As they neared the final evacuation point, a massive explosion rocked the entire complex. Alex watched in horror as the main hangar collapsed, taking with it their last remaining aircraft and any hope of an aerial escape. New plan, she growled into her comm. Everyone to the underground tunnels. Now. As the last of the survivors disappeared into the narrow passageways, Alex prepared to set off the charges that would seal the entrance. But just as she was about to press the detonator, she heard a scream. Through the smoke and chaos, she saw Dr. Wong pinned down by alien fire, clutching a hard drive to her chest. Without hesitation, Alex sprinted towards her, dodging energy blasts and leaping over debris. She reached the scientist just as an alien soldier closed in. In one fluid motion, Alex swung her rifle like a club, catching the alien under what passed for its chin and sending it sprawling. She hauled Dr. Wong to her feet. "Run," she shouted, providing covering fire as they made a mad dash for the tunnel entrance. They dove through just as Alex hit the detonator. The explosion sealed the passage behind them, buying them precious time to escape. Hours later, what remained of Haven's population emerged from the tunnels, battered, exhausted, and shell-shocked. As Alex helped set up a makeshift camp, the full weight of their loss began to sink in. "How many?" she asked Emily, dreading the answer. Emily's voice was hollow as she replied, "At least half our fighting force, most of our equipment," and she hesitated. "We lost Raj." Alex felt as if she'd been punched in the gut. Raj, with his brilliant mind and dry humor, had been the heart of their technical operations. His loss was a blow they could ill afford. As night fell, Alex found herself standing at the edge of the camp, staring back in the direction of their ruined base. Dr. Wong approached, still clutching the hard drive she'd risked her life to save. "It wasn't your fault, you know," the scientist said softly. Alex's jaw clenched. "I should have seen it coming. I should have been better prepared." Dr. Wong shook her head. "None of us saw this coming. But thanks to you, we survived. And we saved this." She held up the hard drive. "All our research on Project Eclipse. It's not much, but it's a start." Alex nodded, trying to take comfort in the small victory. But as she looked out at the demoralized survivors, she couldn't shake the feeling that something fundamental had changed in the war. The next few weeks were a blur of constant movement and guerrilla tactics. What remained of the Haven resistance, along with survivors from other fallen bases, formed a mobile unit, never staying in one place for long. Reports trickled in from around the globe, each more dire than the last. The aliens had launched a massive offensive, reclaiming territories and crushing resistance cells with brutal efficiency. It seemed that for every step forward the humans had taken, they were now being forced 2 steps back. During a rare moment of respite, Alex pored over maps and intel reports, trying to make sense of the aliens' new strategy. Emily found her there, slumped over a makeshift desk. "You need to rest," Emily said, concern evident in her voice. Alex shook her head. "Can't. There's something we're missing. This new offensive. It's different. More desperate." Emily frowned. "Desperate. They're winning." "Are they?" Alex mused. "Look at the pattern of their attacks. They're not just reclaiming territory. They're searching for something." Before Emily could respond, an alarm blared through the camp. Alex was on her feet in an instant, rifle in hand. "Report," she barked into her comm. Captain Rodriguez's voice came through, tense and urgent. "Alien scout ship, just on the edge of our perimeter. But Ghost, it's not attacking. It's broadcasting a message. In English." Alex's blood ran cold. In all the months of fighting, the aliens had never attempted to communicate directly. Whatever this was, it couldn't be good. She raced to the command tent, where a small crowd had gathered around a crackling radio. The voice that emerged was strange, clearly alien, but speaking in halting, accented English. "Humans, your resistance is futile, but it is also unnecessary. We offer you chance, cooperation, survival. You have seen but fraction of our power. Project Eclipse will remake your world. Join us, or face extinction." The message repeated once more before cutting off, leaving a stunned silence in its wake. Captain Rodriguez was the first to speak. "It's a trick. Has to be." But Alex wasn't so sure. The desperation she'd sensed in the aliens' recent attacks, the urgency of their search, it all pointed to something bigger at play. "Dr. Wong," she said, turning to the scientist, "what do we know about Project Eclipse? Could it really be something that could remake our world?" Dr. Wong's face was pale as she pulled up data on her tablet. "The energy readings we've detected, they're off the charts. If they found a way to harness that kind of power, then yes, theoretically they could alter the planet's environment on a massive scale." The implications were staggering. Alex's mind raced, trying to process what this could mean for the war, for humanity's very survival. "We need more information," she decided, "and there's only one way to get it. We need to capture one of their high-ranking officers." The plan she outlined was audacious, bordering on suicidal. Using intel gathered from their alien defectors, they would infiltrate a major alien command post. While the main force provided a distraction, Alex would lead a small team to capture the alien commander. As the resistance fighters prepared for what could be their final mission, Alex found herself standing alone, watching the sun set on another day of a war-torn Earth. Emily approached, her face set in grim determination. "Do you really think this will work?" Alex was quiet for a long moment before responding. "It has to. We're out of options, out of time. Whatever Project Eclipse is, it's the key to everything. We find out what it is, we might just find a way to end this war." As night fell and the resistance made final preparations for their daring raid, Alex couldn't shake a feeling of foreboding. They were about to take an enormous risk, one that could either save humanity or doom it to final defeat. The alien invaders had mocked their retreat, then faced the fury of humanity's resurgence. Now, as both sides teetered on the brink of desperation, the true nature of the conflict was about to be revealed, and at the center of it all stood Alex Chen, the legendary sniper, about to face her greatest challenge yet. Little did she know, the truth behind Project Eclipse would shake her to her very core, forcing her to question everything she thought she knew about the war, the aliens, and humanity's place in the cosmos. As the resistance moved out under cover of darkness, the fate of two species hung in the balance. The next few hours would determine whether Earth would be remade or destroyed, and whether Alex's legend would end in triumph or tragedy. Unveiling the truth, the alien perspective. The alien command post loomed before them, a twisted spire of otherworldly architecture that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Alex and her small infiltration team crouched in the shadows of what used to be downtown Seattle, watching the ebb and flow of alien patrols. "Remember," Alex whispered to her team, "our primary objective is to capture the commander alive. We need answers about Project Eclipse." Emily, crouched beside her, nodded grimly. "And if we can't take him alive?" Alex's jaw tightened. "Then we take whatever intel we can and get out. The distraction team is risking everything to give us this shot. We can't waste it." As if on cue, explosions rocked the night sky on the other side of the city. The bulk of the resistance forces, led by Captain Rodriguez, had launched a daring attack on the aliens' primary power station. It was a suicidal mission, but one that would hopefully draw enough attention away from the command post. "That's our cue," Alex said, hefting her rifle. "Move out." The team moved with practiced stealth, using the whisper scopes to avoid cloaked alien sentries. Alex's heart pounded in her chest, every sense on high alert. They had one shot at this, and failure wasn't an option. As they neared the base of the spire, an alarm suddenly blared. Alex cursed under her breath. "They've detected us. Double time." The team broke into a sprint, alien energy weapons fire sizzling past them. Alex returned fire, her shots finding their marks with deadly accuracy. But it wasn't enough to stem the tide of alien defenders pouring out of the structure. "We're not going to make it to the command center," Emily shouted over the chaos. Alex's mind raced, searching for a solution. That's when she saw it, a sleek alien shuttle preparing for takeoff on a nearby landing pad. "Change of plans," she ordered. "We're taking that shuttle." In a desperate charge, the team fought their way to the shuttle. Alex provided cover and fire as Emily and the others boarded. Just as she was about to follow, a massive alien, clearly a high-ranking officer, emerged from the spire. Time seemed to slow as Alex locked eyes with the creature. In that moment, she made a split-second decision that would change everything. "Go," she shouted to Emily. "Get the shuttle out of here." "But Ghost, that's an order." As the shuttle lifted off, Alex turned to face the alien officer. It towered over her, its iridescent skin pulsing with what she now recognized as a mix of anger and fear. "You," the alien said in that same halting English they had heard on the broadcast. "The one they call Ghost." Alex raised her rifle, aiming squarely at what she hoped was a vital area. "That's right, and you're going to tell me everything I want to know about Project Eclipse." What happened next would haunt Alex for years to come. Instead of attacking, the alien slowly lowered its weapon. "Yes," it said, "it is time you knew the truth." Hours later, Emily and the surviving members of the Resistance gathered around Alex in their hidden camp. The look on her face as she emerged from her private debriefing with the alien officer, who had willingly surrendered and accompanied her, was one of shock and disbelief. "Ghost," Emily said cautiously, "what happened? What did you learn?" Alex took a deep breath, her voice shaky as she began to speak. "Everything we thought we knew about this war, it's all wrong." She recounted what the alien, who called itself Zarthak, had told her. The invasion of Earth hadn't been about conquest or resources. It was an act of desperate survival. "Their home world is dying," Alex explained. "Some kind of cosmic event is causing their star to destabilize. They've been searching the galaxy for a suitable planet to relocate their entire species." Dr. Wong leaned forward, her eyes wide, and Earth was the closest match. Alex nodded. "But it's not perfect. That's where Project Eclipse comes in. It's not a weapon. It's a terraforming device on a scale we can barely comprehend. They plan to use it to alter Earth's environment, making it more suitable for their physiology." A heavy silence fell over the group as the implications sank in. Captain Rodriguez was the first to speak, his voice tight with anger. "So they're just going to wipe us out and take our planet? Like hell they are." "It's not that simple," Alex said, her voice pained. "According to Zarthak, they didn't expect us to be sentient. Their long-range scans showed a planet teeming with life, but they had no idea we had advanced civilization. By the time they realized, it was too late. Their entire species was committed to the journey." Emily shook her head in disbelief. "Are we supposed to feel sorry for them? After everything they've done?" "No," Alex said firmly. "But I think we need to consider the possibility of negotiation." The suggestion was met with an uproar of protests. Alex raised her hands, calling for silence. "Listen to me. This changes everything. They're not an unstoppable invasion force. They're refugees, desperate and scared. And more importantly, they're vulnerable." Dr. Wong nodded slowly, understanding dawning on her face. The energy requirements for Project Eclipse, it must be enormous. That's why they've been so aggressive in securing and defending certain locations. "Exactly," Alex confirmed. "Zarthak says their resources are stretched to the breaking point. This war is devastating them almost as much as it's devastating us." Captain Rodriguez scoffed. "So what, we just surrender?" Let them have our planet. No, Alex said, her voice gaining strength as she spoke. We negotiate from a position of strength. We know their vulnerabilities now. We can target their key facilities, disrupt Project Eclipse, force them to the bargaining table. As the debate raged on, Alex found herself stepping away, needing a moment to process everything she had learned. The weight of the situation pressed down on her like a physical force. The fate of two species now hung in the balance, and the decisions made in the coming days would shape the future of both. Emily followed her, concern etched on her face. Ghost, Alex, are you okay? Alex turned to her protégé, her eyes filled with a turmoil Emily had never seen before. I don't know, Em. I've spent so long seeing them as the enemy, hating them for what they've done to our world, and now they're still the enemy, Emily said firmly. They've killed millions of our people. Have we been any different? Alex asked softly. How many of them have I killed? How many families have I destroyed? We've been fighting for survival, but so have they. The two women stood in silence for a long moment, the weight of the war and its potential future heavy between them. Finally, Alex straightened, her resolve visibly hardening. We need to end this war, she said, not just for humanity's sake, but for theirs too. There has to be a way for both species to survive. Emily nodded slowly. If anyone can find a way, it's you, Ghost. So what's our next move? Alex's eyes gleamed with determination. We take what we've learned to the highest levels of human leadership, and then we do what humanity does best. We innovate. We find a solution no one has thought of yet. As they walked back to the group, Alex's mind was already racing with possibilities. The road ahead would be fraught with danger and difficult choices. But for the first time since the invasion began, she felt a glimmer of hope, not just for victory, but for a future where two species might find a way to coexist. The aliens had come as invaders, then revealed themselves as refugees. Now, it was up to Alex and the Resistance to write the next chapter in this interstellar drama. The fate of two worlds hung in the balance, and the legendary sniper found herself at the crossroads of history. As night fell over the war-torn Earth, plans were set in motion that would change the course of the conflict. The final confrontation loomed on the horizon, not just a battle of weapons, but a battle of wills, ideas, and the very definition of what it meant to be sentient beings in a vast, uncaring universe. The alien invaders had mocked humanity's retreat, only to find themselves facing a resurgence they never expected. Now, both species stood on the brink of either mutual destruction or an unprecedented cooperation. And at the center of it all was Alex Chen, the sniper whose legend had grown beyond her wildest dreams, now tasked with her greatest challenge yet, finding a way to save both her people and those she had once called enemy. The final stand, humanity's triumph. The following weeks were a whirlwind of tense negotiations, daring missions, and scientific breakthroughs. Alex found herself at the center of it all, shuttling between military command centers, makeshift labs, and even alien diplomatic enclaves. The revelation about the true nature of the alien invasion had sent shockwaves through both human and alien leadership. While many on both sides called for continued conflict, cooler heads began to prevail as the full scope of the situation became clear. Dr. Wong and her team, working in conjunction with alien scientists, made a startling discovery. The cosmic event threatening the aliens' home world, a massive coronal ejection from their sun, was part of a larger phenomenon affecting multiple star systems. Earth's sun, they realized, would face a similar threat within the next century. Don't you see? Dr. Wong explained to a gathered group of human and alien leaders. We're not just fighting for today. We're fighting for the future of both our species. Alex stood at the back of the room, watching as the implications sank in. She caught the eye of Zarthok, the alien commander who had first revealed the truth to her. There was a moment of unspoken understanding between them. They had both come so far from being mortal enemies. But not everyone was convinced. Hardliners on both sides pushed for a final, decisive battle. The aliens' Project Eclipse was nearing completion, and some human factions wanted to launch an all-out assault to destroy it. It all came to a head on a cold, clear morning. Alex stood on the bridge of a commandeered alien ship, a joint human-alien crew working around her. They were en route to the primary Eclipse facility, where either peace would be forged or the final battle of the war would be fought. Emily, now her second-in-command, approached with a tablet. Latest intel, Ghost. Looks like the hardliners are making their move. We've got rogue human and alien forces converging on the facility. Alex's jaw tightened. Then we're out of time. We need to get there first. As their ship descended through the atmosphere, the Eclipse facility came into view. It was a massive structure, pulsing with energy, surrounded by a swarm of ships and weapons platforms from both factions. "This is General Alex Chen to all forces," she broadcast on an open channel. "Stand down immediately. We are here on a diplomatic mission sanctioned by both human and alien leadership." For a tense moment, it seemed like her words might be heeded. Then, without warning, weapons fire erupted from all sides. "Evasive maneuvers," Alex shouted, gripping the command console as their ship lurched to avoid the barrage. What followed was a chaotic battle unlike anything the war had seen before. Rogue human and alien forces, once bitter enemies, now found themselves inadvertently fighting side by side against Alex's coalition. Through it all, Alex coordinated a masterful defense. Her years of experience as a sniper translated into an uncanny ability to predict enemy movements and exploit weaknesses in their formation. "We need to get to the facility's control center," she told Emily as they fought their way through the corridors. "If we can activate Eclipse on our terms, we can end this." They battled through waves of resistance, human and alien alike. Alex's rifle sang its deadly song, each shot precise and purposeful. But this time, it wasn't just destruction she dealt. With carefully placed shots, she disabled rather than killed, determined to minimize the loss of life on all sides. Finally, they reached the heart of the facility. The Eclipse control room was a marvel of alien technology, pulsing with energy and possibility. "Cover me," Alex ordered as she and Dr. Wong rushed to the main console. Together with Zarthok, they began the delicate process of reprogramming the Eclipse device. Outside, the battle raged on. Emily and the rest of the team fought desperately to hold off the converging forces trying to seize control of Eclipse. "Whatever you're going to do, Ghost, do it fast." Emily's voice crackled over the comm. "We can't hold them much longer." Alex's fingers flew over the alien controls, her mind racing. Everything they had fought for, everything both species had endured, came down to this moment. "It's ready," Dr. Wong said, her voice filled with awe and trepidation. Alex took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the activation switch. In that moment, she felt the weight of two worlds on her shoulders. With a silent prayer, she pressed the button. The effect was immediate and staggering. A wave of energy pulsed out from the facility, washing over the battling forces. But instead of the destructive force many had feared, it was something entirely different. The energy enveloped the planet, seeping into the very fabric of the biosphere. Within minutes, reports started flooding in from around the globe. Polluted areas were being rapidly cleansed. Devastated ecosystems sprang back to life with astonishing speed. "It's working," Dr. Wong breathed, tears in her eyes as she looked at the data streams. "The Eclipse device, we've reprogrammed it to heal the planet, to make it more habitable for both our species." Outside, the fighting had ceased. Human and alien soldiers alike stood in awe as they witnessed the transformation happening around them. Trees burst forth from barren ground, waters cleared, and the very air seemed fresher. Alex stepped out onto a balcony overlooking the facility grounds. She watched as former enemies lowered their weapons, the magnitude of what had just occurred sinking in. Emily joined her, her eyes wide with wonder. "Is it over? Did we just win?" Alex smiled, a genuine, hopeful smile that felt foreign on her face after so many years of war. I think we all just won, M. In the days and weeks that followed, a new era of cooperation dawned. The aliens, their immediate crisis averted, began to share their advanced technology with humanity. Together, the two species worked to restore Earth and prepare for the long-term challenges that faced both their worlds. Alex found herself in a strange new role, no longer just a sniper or a military leader, but a bridge between two civilizations. Her legend had grown beyond anything she could have imagined, but it was a legend of peace now, not just war. One evening, as she stood watching the sunset from the rebuilt Haven base, now a center for human-alien cooperation, Zarthak approached her. "You have done something remarkable, Alex Chen," the alien said, its voice filled with what she now recognized as respect. "You have saved not one world, but two." Alex shook her head modestly. "We all did it, human and alien, working together. That's the real victory here." Zarthak made a gesture she had learned was the equivalent of a smile. "Perhaps, but it was your vision, your willingness to see beyond the conflict, that made it possible." As they stood in companionable silence, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Alex reflected on the long, difficult journey that had brought them to this point. The war had cost so much, had taken so many lives. But in the end, it had also brought about something extraordinary: the union of two species, once bitter enemies, now partners in facing the challenges of the cosmos. The alien invaders had indeed mocked humanity's initial retreat, but humanity, led by an unlikely hero, a sniper who learned to see beyond her scope, had risen to heights no one could have predicted. They had not just survived, they had thrived, and in doing so, they had lifted another species with them. As night fell and the stars began to twinkle overhead, stars that now held new meaning and possibility, Alex Chen, once known as the Ghost, felt a profound sense of peace. The legend of the deadly sniper had evolved into something far greater, a legend of hope, of unity, and of the indomitable spirit that defined not just humanity, but all sentient life reaching for the stars. The war was over. A new age had begun, and Alex Chen, her rifle now laid to rest, stood ready to help lead both her people and her former enemies into a future brighter than either species had dared to dream. As she turned to head back inside, Emily fell into step beside her. "So, Ghost," she said with a grin, "what's our next mission?" Alex laughed, a sound of pure joy and possibility. "You know what, Em? For once, I think our mission is simply to live, to build, to explore." She looked up at the star-filled sky. "After all, we've got a whole universe waiting for us now." And with that, Alex Chen, the sniper whose legend had reshaped two worlds, stepped forward into a future filled with hope, challenges, and endless possibilities. The alien invaders had come as conquerors, but they would remain as allies, all thanks to the unbreakable spirit of humanity and the vision of one remarkable soldier who dared to see beyond the scope of her rifle. The end of the war marked not just the survival of humanity, but its ascension to a new level of existence as part of a grand interstellar community. And it all began with a single shot from a sniper who became a legend.